Hey you all, so it's me, Joelle Terranova. I actually wanted to go live, but I realized as I went live, all the numbers and writing was backwards, so we had to do a recorded video. So just got off the phone with another client and was showing them how they can make money on this first time home purchase that they're about to go into. They just got to a 700 credit score. They're super excited, and I thought that I would share with you exactly what we showed them because it's not just about getting your credit right. Yes, that needs to happen. You need to understand these numbers, but you also need to understand how being a first time home buyer can boost your wealth significantly. So, I wanted to show you the scenario that we just showed them and how you might be able to do the exact same. All of our clients that are in our program, we do this with them so that they know exactly what to look for. An educated consumer is our best customer. So, in this scenario, we are looking at what's called a 203K FHA loan. So, what is that? That is a loan that gives you funds to rehab the house. I really don't suggest that you get yourself a fixer upper. Nobody has time for that. But if you have something that just needs minor repairs, maybe you have a friend or a family member who's a contractor that you feel comfortable to help you, maybe your spouse is a contractor. This is a really cool way to be able to make money. So, in this particular scenario that we're looking at, the purchase price of the home is only $250,000. And some of these numbers I rounded out just to make it easier for video's sake. But $250,000 is the purchase price. Now, the homes in that area are going for $425,000, right? Why is this price so low? Well, it's a foreclosure and it has a couple of dings in it and it just needs to be fixed up, but the clients fell in love with it. So we calculated that they're going to need about $50,000 to rehab the house. We added another $5,000 because in this particular loan scenario, you need to have 10% in reserves. What is that? That's 10% of money stashed away to be able to pay the mortgage. So we're stashing away 5,000 of this 55. So that's why you see rehab costs plus 10% reserves. So if you add 250,000 to 55,000, you get $305,000. Now in this scenario, the client has to put 5% down. This is a more conventional style loan, even though it's FHA, 5% down. So 5% down would be $15,250, right? So then that means the total loan amount that the bank is going to be giving up is $289,750, right? Now, with that being stated, this client has a 700 credit score. They're coming in at a 4.5% interest rate with a total APR of 3.6. So you might say 4.5, that's kind of high considering what's going on now and the interest rates. Well, you got to think about it because this is a 203K loan. They're not only getting money to purchase the home, but they're getting $55,000 to rehab. Could you imagine if you tried to get a loan from a bank for 55,000, just a plain old loan or a credit card? You're looking at probably 20% interest rate. So you got to think about how this loan is structured to realize that this is a really great interest rate at this credit score. You all, credit score is everything. Stop being in that paralysis analysis mode, not getting your credit fixed because you think you can't do this scenario. But don't let these numbers shut you down. I'm going to show you how this client is going to be able to get into this loan with very, very little money. So let's keep going. So what we had to do is calculate, and these are hypothetical numbers. The lender's going to give them the final numbers, but these are extremely close. So on this loan for $289, or excuse me, $289,000 with a 4.5%, their principal and interest payment is going to be $1,468. The taxes on the house monthly is going to be $883. Their insurance, homeowners insurance, is going to be $100. Their PMI is 177. Let's pause for a minute because I want you to understand what PMI is. PMI is insurance if for some reason this client defaults on the loan. This is something that I preach in my credit restoration classes all the time. What people don't realize is that you actually purchase and pay for monthly insurance to make sure that the bank gets their money if for some reason you don't pay it back. And so when people go into foreclosure situations, it ends up on their credit. It's very easy for our firm to get that off because we can prove that the bank was made whole because the client paid PMI or they paid for the insurance policy. So if they default, that insurance policy is then cashed out and then the bank is made whole again. So in this particular loan scenario, the PMI is $177. If we add these numbers up, the client's pity payment, or pity stands for principal, interest, tax, and insurance, is $2,579, right? Now, what we want to do is we want to calculate. One of the things that some of you all get really, really nervous about is debt to income ratio. So I want to show you how to calculate that. So debt, according to your lender, they're looking at stuff like your monthly student loan payments, your monthly car payments. They are not looking at utilities, food, childcare expenses, etc. Those things. Those are things that you should be looking at. The bank is also looking at your monthly credit card payments, things like that. So in this scenario, our client's total debt, it was a little less than $1,000, but I went ahead and put $1,000 for round number's sake. So if we add together the potential mortgage payment with their monthly debt, like that has to be paid, their total debt then comes to $3,579. You see that? Now this client's income is at $95,000 a year, right? Their gross is $7,916 a month. Now, when you calculate your bills, you're looking at your net because your net is after the taxes are out. So you want to make sure you look at that. But this is their gross income. So now, if we take the gross and we divide it by the total debt, we're able to see their back end debt to income ratio, which is 45%. And for the lender that we're working with, they fall within limits. But you also want to look at your front end debt to income. And what that is taking the actual mortgage payment and dividing it by your gross, and that comes in at 33% on this particular scenario. But now let's look at closing costs. How much cash is needed to close this loan? Well, we take a look at the 5% needed down, 15,250. Closing costs on this loan is probably going to be under 5%, but I'd like to overestimate, so I went to 5%. So if we add those two numbers together, we're looking at $31,000 to close. And so you might say, oh my God, who has $31,000? This is the thing, you all. This client is not going to have to come with $31,000. It's not needed. So what's going to happen is they can apply, and we actually have already put in the application for DPA, which is down payment assistance. Also, they can ask for seller assistance. Now, depending on what type of loan you're going for, you can ask for anywhere between 3 to 6% when it comes to seller assistance. Down payment assistance comes in a couple forms of lender credits, grants. Our firm makes sure that we get you all the down payment assistance that you need. And the scenario that we're looking at, this client has already pre-qualified for $2,000 of down payment assistance. Now, when it comes to this particular loan, the seller has already offered 3% closing costs. So our client's not going to have to come up with $31,000. In fact, what they plan to do, they've already saved a little bit of money. They just got their income tax check and they're going to take their stimulus checks, and that's actually going to be what they're going to be primarily using for their closing costs. But here's the fun part. They're getting this house for 289,000 pretty much. The value of it is going to be 425 once it gets rehab. And right now we're in a bit of a down market. It's going to climb back up. But that's what happens when you have a dip in the economy like we do now. So now this client is getting a house in which they're going to have $135,000 worth of equity, just because they got smart and got their credit score to where they needed it to be. They let us know everything they had, they didn't have, they needed money, they needed a lender, they needed a realtor, and all of those things, down payment assistance, getting a realtor, having those services didn't cost anything. And now that client stands to make $135,000. Now, what could they do with that? If they wanted to, they could sell the house and be able to make a profit. Excuse me. Or they can get what's called a home equity line of credit, also known as a HELOC, and they can tap into the equity in their house and have an emergency line of credit for $135,000. They don't have to use it, but it's there for them to tap into. I show you this scenario to say, get yourself educated, but this is the time to press the gas, because we're in a situation where the economy's on a downturn, but you can be on the upturn when it swings back up. So please, if you have any questions, if you have any scenarios that you want to discuss with us, don't hesitate. If you're having a hard time with your credit score, our company is real estate based. We're not a credit repair company. We make money when you get keys in your hand from the house that you wanted to buy. That's where our whole enchilada comes from. So if your credit needs fixed, we're going to get it done quickly because I got to get you into the house. If you don't have the money to close, we know how to get you the money to close. There's so many programs out there. Why are they available to you? It's because of this. Our economy stops when people stop buying and selling homes. Everything needs a piece of property. Every business, every person needs a shelter to live in. And that is the thing that drives our economy. And so there's programs that are always going to be available to you so that you can get the funds you need so that you can go ahead and be a part of that wealth building economy. So I hope that this video helped you. I'm super excited to be able to talk to you. Um, Please take a look at the link if you want to hop on the phone and talk real quick. Our business is super, super busy at this time. However, we want to do our very, very best to educate as many people as humanly possible. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon.